Hello everyone, how's it going? Well, today I'm going to be doing a oil change on my 2007 Ford F-150 with a 5.43 valve. This procedure will be able to be used on all 2004 to 2010 F-150s with 5.43 valve and 4.63 valve engines. So today for this oil change I'm going to be using 7 quarts of Motorcraft synthetic blend 5W20. I'm also going to be using a Motorcraft FL820S oil filter, a 3/8 drive ratchet with a 5/8 socket on it for the sump drain plug, and a large size old school aluminum filter wrench. One thing before we get started here that I want to make clear for all 3 valve owners, whether 5.4 or 4.6 3 valve owners, you must use a Motorcraft filter or an equivalent high quality filter. Do not use Fram products. Fram products are known for the actual filter media coming apart, and because 3 valves have such small oil passages, can actually clog those oil passages to the camshaft and burn the cam journals up, and also do damage to the VCT, and even plug up VCT solenoids and just completely ruin the top side of the engine. Even though I've checked before and this truck will not roll off of these ramps, I've tried it before, but just to be safe, I like to chalk the wheels up. Can't never be too careful. Just going to use some firewood I've got around back. So before we start off, I'm going to pull the dipstick out just a little bit so that gives a little bit of airflow into the crankcase. I'm also going to open this and just sit it down on there loose. Now to get my 15 quart drain pan up underneath there. Alright, so we've got our 3/8 drive ratchet with a 5/8 socket on it. I just took the truck for a 16-mile drive just to get the oil hot enough so it will drain a lot quicker. Also might want to use gloves for this because it will burn you really bad. But I've been burnt so many times it doesn't even matter anymore. And we'll let that drain for about 5 or 10 minutes. While you're at it, go ahead and clean the sump drain plug and inspect the little O-ring that seals off right here. Make sure it's still good and flexible and not rotted or cracked, because it can possibly cause a leak. Alright, so it's slowed to just a tiny drip now. It's been about 10 minutes and that is plenty enough. So we're going to go ahead and put the plug back in. Also, when you fill this plug, seat and start really tightening up. Just give it a good little snug. Let's see, it's starting to snug. Here it is. And then just give it a little, and that's good. Don't go Macho Man Randy Savage on this thing. Just tighten it up just good and snug. This is thin metal that you're screwing up into right here, so if you strip it, well, I'll leave the rest to your imagination. Also, just wipe the area around the plug too, just so that you can check for leakage later on. Okay, so now we got our drain pan up here, and here's the filter up here at the front left, towards the driver's side on the front of the engine. Just put the filter wrench on there and just slowly loosen it all. Reposition this a little bit here. Now, just take it off by hand. There she comes. Okay, so now we've got the new filter here. So just take a little bit of your new oil and spread it on this O-ring here. This ensures a nice seat against the block where it goes, and this keeps the gasket from crimping and leaking and whatnot. I also like to, I know this is a sideways mounted filter, but I always like to pre-fill just a little bit. Obviously can't do much, but a little bit can't hurt anything, just by helping the oil pressure build a little bit faster. And I can only do the filter one-handed, but it's, I mean, you pretty much get the idea though. I mean, it's just goes over a threaded stud, and you just spin it back on there and tighten it up, and that's pretty much it. Okay, got the new filter on. And what you want to do when you tighten this thing up, only go as tight as you can. This is what I usually do. I usually go as tight as I can with my hands. And I know you don't have to go anywhere over hand tight, but this is just how I do it. You can do it the way you want. Put the filter wrench on it, and then just go about a quarter of a turn. There we go. Okay, that's enough. That's all that it needs. And that's basically it. Now to just fill it up. Now to put 7 quarts of oil in it. I know that 7 quarts puts it a little bit over the full mark, but not enough to hurt anything. So I just put this full 7 in it and be done with it. Since I lost one of my funnels, I went ahead and cut one of these 1-quart bottles in half, and that works just as good. But remember that if you do this too, remember to get all the plastic pieces out of the inside, because if you don't want that going down in your oil and possibly getting sucked up the sump or something like that. We filled it up with 7 quarts. And just plugged my real oil pressure gauge up, fixing to watch this when I crank it up. Not going to go by the gauge on the dash, because these Ford gauges that come in these trucks are fake, and so I've just plugged it in. So anyway, usually sounds bad when it first starts up, but what engine doesn't with no oil pressure?
Perfect. And that's all there is to it. Now to just put everything back up and back the truck off the ramps. Of course, don't forget to get the chocks out if you put any behind it, or however you do this, whether it's with jack stands, ramps, whichever. Thanks for watching.